All right, everyone, welcome to the Caffeinated podcast. I finally have a guest here who has joined me, not in studio, but on Zoom. It's been a long, lonely couple of months as we've been getting the podcast ready, and I've been sitting here alone talking with myself. So I've got somebody on our podcast today joining me from Nashville, Tennessee. We've got Jason Elkins. Jason, welcome to the podcast. And how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and anything else that we would find interesting about Jason Elkins.
Thank you, Trevor, for having me on. I grew up in Michigan, so I always kind of felt like I'm almost Canadian. I'm probably like partial. I've got like partial Canadian status just from that. It's good to see you. We've been friends for a long time. My business is focused on marketing, and part of that is coaching, and then part of that is some done-for-you work that I do. But when I think of marketing, I really think of getting people to hear your message, hear your story, and basically, I also developed a class, kind of a workshop around that called 100 Cups Academy, and I'd love to share more about that with you and your listeners in a functional way that they can take some of this goodness and go out and divide and conquer for their business and themselves as well.
Perfect. And yes, I remember you as a Michigander. I could see you across the river there. So you've enjoyed these long winters as we have, and you got smart and you moved south.
I did. There are times that I think I didn't go far enough south, but yes, I miss the people there, not the weather, for sure.
Oh, good people. Hey, listen, and for this call, of course, I always have coffee, but I've got my 100 cup here. This, of course, was borrowed, I say loosely, from Jason. And you know what? Why don't we kick it off from there? February, we were going down this messaging rabbit hole of February being the Laws of Attraction month. Customer service. If you've been out to a store or tried to call any company, customer service is terrible. It sucks. People don't want to talk to people anymore, which really makes it harder to help people get out there and attract them. And I thought one of the reasons for wanting you on the call was because you have that 100 Cup Academy where you're forcing people to get out there. But rather than me tell people about the 100 Cup Academy, how about you kind of share where the idea came from? Let's start there and kind of brushstroke as to what is the 100 Cup Academy.
Sure. The origin story of that, I was working for the large website development company in the city that I'm in, and they were kind of the ones that handled the municipalities, and they would handle the larger businesses. If you wanted a professional website, that we were the organization that you would come to. And I was there, really enjoying that job. Small company, it was about 10, 12 employees. And I was in sales, and they had talked about single threading all sales through me. I was expecting a raise and a promotion. I walked in one day, and this is after 3 years of being there, and they said, "Hey, Jason, today's your last day. We're letting you go. We're letting the designer go. We are partnering with a new platform that's going to supply us leads. So we don't really need a field person. We're going to be getting leads, larger, more money per job, and these are people that already have some experience or are interested in our platform." So that was a shock to me. I had in that moment, I was expecting a promotion. So imagine, you walk in, and if your boss's lips are quivering a little when you walk in the door, it's probably not going to be a great day for you. And I thanked him for the experience. I had a really good run there. Really learned a ton about marketing. And on the when I arrived home, my wife got some kind of odd spiritual gifts and said, "Hey, I saw this coming, and I think you should start doing that thing that you've been talking about." And Trevor, what that was is the problem with the website sale. I'm a relationship guy. I love building relationships with people. And the problem with selling websites is it's a one sale every 4, 5, 6 years maybe. Sometimes you'll get some additional work from that, but I would just get sad. I'd sell the site, work up all that, and then the person would kind of be gone. And you would check in every once in a while. But I also felt like that was just one part of the marketing game. At that time, this was in 2010, 2009, 2010, and I realized that it was only just a very small part of marketing. You need social media, you needed newsletters, you need to be able to blog on a regular basis. At least at that time, those things were really important. Social media was just kind of becoming a thing. So I started having lunch and learns at that company when I was there to teach our audience how to utilize their site better and how to actually get more people to go there. So that was kind of an exciting thing, and I love the teaching aspect of that, and I love developing better relationships with them longer term. And I just felt like that was a better way to go about as an organization that sold websites. It was better to be teaching them about these other ancillary things. So when the job ended, my thought was I could take those ancillary things and help companies do that. It took me out of the competition with my old company, and I really love the relationships more than I love the website stuff. So I was able to basically help them develop better relationships with their audience through these other channels. So the one idea I had at the time is I was going to have 100 cups of coffee in 100 days with 100 business people, and after about 20 or so cups, some kind of interesting things started happening. I started getting some projects, which was great. I didn't have a big nest egg or a rich uncle. So I really needed to figure out how to put food on the table for a family of four, and I was the only one working. So that was a revelation. And then weird stuff started happening. I wrote a blog about this idea and posted on this kind of terrible website that I had built myself. And the newspaper picked it up. He called me and asked me if I would be the entrepreneur of the week, which was hilarious. I didn't have any clients that time. I was just getting started, and a couple weeks into this, so I had a friend take some photos at a coffee shop and send them into the paper, and they published that a week later. And old client, called me, and that ended up becoming a deal. And some other interesting things were happening where people were kind of getting interested in this idea because I was not only meeting with people, I was getting a picture with them and then posting them on my socials as the cup of the day. So yeah,
The
this idea.
and I think that the idea of challenging the people to that 100 cups, you start off with that, but just as you said, um, you're going to start getting so many calls well before you get to that 100 cup that
Oh, for
it's
sure.
almost impossible to finish that task, because now the jobs are coming in. But I think it's the important thing is to continue going out there, because as those
Yeah.
jobs are coming in, you want to force yourself to continue to meet other people to hit that. And I love the idea of the cup of the day. Now, for those listening at home, the cup of the day is, as Jason just said, is he takes a picture with who he's with, and that's that cup of the day. Now, did that start right from the genesis of this idea, where, hey, I'm doing the 100 cups, I'm going to take the cup of the day, or was that something that was a light bulb moment later on?
It was a light bulb moment a little later on, but I was telling people about, because like I even posted about losing the job on social media. I thought that was a good way to at least let my clients know that I was no longer at that company, because a lot of them had become friends over the years, and then B, I wanted to know what opportunities were out there. So I was kind of then just documenting my journey in entrepreneurship and figuring things out as I was going along. And the posting of that, it started with just I would maybe make an update with just text, and then it was just text, and I would tag somebody, and then over time it developed into let me get a picture, and then let that be kind of a foundational component of this. Again, I was just trying to work hard enough to not have to go back to work for somebody. That was the ultimate
Yeah.
goal at that time. So it wasn't like I was thinking about creating a content strategy or anything. But it evolved into that for sure.
Well, and from the passive viewer, you are the guy that's meeting everybody, and you're out there, and you're creating business, you're creating commerce, like
Yeah.
you're shaking and you're baking all at the same time, and it looks like good things are happening. So as we see that, as again, as a passive viewer, it attracts us, going back to that laws of attraction, it attracts us to want to connect with you. And did you see during your journey that people started to reach out to you to say, hey, how do I become one of your cups of the day?
Yeah, it's fascinating. And again, that wasn't the idea in the beginning, but that's what started to happen. In fact, I got a call, or I was networking with a group in Nashville. They had some connect groups all around the city, and they were bringing them all back in for kind of like a reunion. And I asked if I could speak at that event, and the person that was leading that said, "Yes, if I could be your cup of the day." I was like, "Oh, there's some currency here." I
Yeah.
didn't really connect with that. But I think Trevor, part of it is, yes, it was nice to look like people were saying, "Oh, you're so busy." I wasn't any busier than any other entrepreneur, probably just talking about it more. Um, but we don't get pats on the back as adults all that often. So our mutual coach John Morgan brings us up. He says things like, "LeBron James doesn't have people telling him he's great at basketball right now."
Right.
So just having somebody edify you on social media and say that you're a good person and doing some interesting things was really, and it became kind of a pull marketing strategy for me, where other people wanted to get their thing to be, even if it's just in front of my audience, they were interested in telling me what they were doing, because then I would share on social what their
Well,
thing was.
yeah, and it's a great way for those people who, I mean, we run out of ideas by day 3 or day 4 of starting anything new. We're like, oh, what do I do today? But now all of a sudden it's like, oh, let me reach out to Jason and be one of his cups. So now, I'm thinking back to my early sales training days where you get that first sales job and they go, okay, write down a list of your 100 contacts.
Right.
And usually that starts with, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, neighbor, because you're young. But from our marketing training, now that you and I are both older guys, we have that kind of A list, those that are 1 degree away from us, and then the dream list. Those are the people that I want to meet with them, but I don't want to ask them, right now, because maybe I'm nervous. Did you have a list of 100 that you wanted to start with, or did you say, hey, I've got the first 20 and I'm just going to start there and I'll just keep adding to it? And do you have a dream list?
I appreciate you asking that. Yes, in the beginning, I probably made a list of 30 people to reach out to. I was pretty well networked even at that time, because that was part of the job for the sales that I was in. But it was interesting that uh, when you write this list down, after the first 10, especially if you're posting, you're going to get requests. Like, that's the beauty of it, is it I don't have to reinvent this start the year off again. There's just more people that have asked about being connected, or that want to connect with me.
Yep.
And that's been the gift that keeps on giving. I haven't had to figure out where the next clients are coming, because this list just keeps growing over time. I get a lot of referrals that way. But there's a couple things I do in those meetings, Trevor, to make sure that it's a positive experience as much as possible for the other person. And that's part of the magic of where those kind of those leads come from. But to kind of close the loop on your question, um, I do have I do have a dream list, and some of them I'm waiting until, like, my podcast is ready to launch. And there are a couple people kind of in that mix, that there's some things that I've got coming up that I'm not quite ready to talk about yet.
Yep.
So it's just, in right now, it's just kind of just business as usual. Still meeting with lots of people.
So let's well, first of all, if I'm on that dream list, you just ask me any day.
Yeah, you are number one.
Okay, so let's walk this through, because
Sure.
for somebody that's thinking, hey, this is a great way that I can force myself out of my comfort zone, because that's really what it is,
Yeah.
and I want to start inviting people for a coffee and all that. So kind of walk me through. Say you want to connect with me, and kind of do the introduction of yourself, and then what do we talk about at that meeting, and kind of what goes through, and then what's the I'm not going to say an ask, so there's probably not an ask at the end of it, but what do you want to walk away with, and then what's the follow up?
Uh, okay. So the first part of that is, if we're connected somewhat before, I would just reach out cold.
Okay.
And especially when you're getting started, you want to look in your periphery and just think about the people that are in your periphery that have some influence. So A great example of this is one of my first meetings is with a vice president of sales for a radio station, and um, we met, and it was interesting because he introduced me to his lead salesperson, and we developed a friendship. But on paper, that guy does not look like he should be anybody that I spend any time with. He's not buying my services. He's not really. He's not leading a team. Um, However, he is talking to everybody that I want to talk to. Small
Mm,
businesses
okay.
trying to figure out what they're going to do with marketing. So that is somebody that's in my periphery that deals with the same types of clients that I do. It's actually easy to get a meeting with in a way because he's not, he doesn't have a team of 20 people that he's trying to lead or the next strategy session. And we developed a relationship, and I made thousands of dollars from that contact, tens of thousands over the years, uh, just for him doing referrals. And I'm not walking in going, "Hey, don't ever buy radio." Like
Right.
radio can still work. I made him look good as well, but that was something that I found really intriguing. So I would try to meet with some influencers, or people of influence of some kind, and I wouldn't just limit it to it's got to be a CEO on paper or someone that a marketing manager that's going to buy. And then during those meetings, I am doing a couple things. The first one is I'm listening 70% of the time, and I'm talking 30%. That is
Very good tip for young kids who or young people into the business who just want to talk. Because sometimes people get confused in positioning themselves as the smart person. They just talk themselves into the sale and then out of the sale because they just don't stop talking.
I'll stop talking. I've made all the mistakes, but this is something that I consistently found. Um, I would get really positive feedback when I was the one doing most of the listening. And Trevor, we're our own favorite subjects. So allowing us to talk, allowing the person to talk, makes them feel more connected to you. There's actually been studies like if you and I go to coffee and you talk 70% of the time, you're going to feel like you know me better. It seems like some reverse psychology trick.
And I'm very similar to I mean, you and I are basically brothers from another mother. I
That's
mean,
right.
let's face
We
it.
are.
And I've had the same thing where people are like, wow, like you are great at having a conversation with, and I've just let them talk the whole time. I what
Yeah.
what they want to say is I'm a great listener, but they just say you're great at conversations,
Yeah.
and it's just about just listening. So
Yeah.
okay, so
That's it.
we're in the call,
That's it.
and you're letting me chat,
Yep.
and you're just listening and kind of in coming in when you need to come in,
Hmm.
and that so life's good. What from there we're
Yep.
getting ready to close up, or maybe before close. Are we talking about strategy in the sense of, hey, who do you know that I can help and who do I know that you can help, or are you
Sure.
not at that level? You're not at that level yet. You're just in a comfortable conversation.
Well, I think even before that, people aren't talking to me because they want to just talk about their dog or kids.
Right.
They do have, it is, we are in a business context. They're expecting something. When I reach out to somebody, I'm saying I'd like to get to know you better and see if we can help each other. That's really it. That's the ask. Um, and again, if I have some sort of relationship with them, they probably have seen a post or heard somebody talking about 100 cups, at least in this area. So I've got kind of a nice in there. But even before that, just reaching out to somebody and say, "Hey, I'd love to take you to coffee and understand more about you, and if there's something that I can help you with." Uh, you may not get everybody, but you're going to get a lot if you tell them, "Hey, I wrote your name down on a list of 10 people I want to get to know better this year,"
Oh,
and mean it.
my ego is on fire right now. If you're
That's
sending me
right.
that note,
That's right. You got to mean it though. But that's you
yes,
could say 20 or 30 or 40 if you need that stretch to get them in that category.
Jay, it sounds like
Uh,
you're Babe Ruth and you're pointing to the wall because you're going to hit it over. So,
yeah. Yeah, that is really good. But the other thing that I'd make sure that I do during that meeting is I want to lead with my best advice. So I'll
Mhm.
give you a great example. Earlier today, I had one of these coffee meetings. It was on Zoom, so that might answer another question for you down the line.
Oh, that is
And
a great question. They're not always in person.
not always in person.
Okay.
And this person said that um, they they had some questions. They're kind of marking a book, and I said, okay. So what I did is I laid out potential strategy for that, like they had already hired me. And yes, it's high level, but there were some nuggets in there. Like, think about the behind the scenes. You could have a deep dive on Thursdays where you're giving somebody a reason why you put this chapter together. Maybe you're making a ride along with that as well as a secondary piece to go along with the book, and you could sell that on Amazon as well. What I try to think of is what is the best advice I can give them in that period of time. And we hear this so often where people, will tell you, well, don't let somebody take you to lunch and rent your brain. Um, your information is worth more than that. And I'm not disagreeing with that. Like, it is good. If we're consistent though.
There's you know what, there's great value in the give economy, and that,
Yeah.
and very similar as well. If people chat with us, I just think, hey, they're either going to talk to me or they're going to go to YouTube and find an answer. So I'd
Right.
rather give them the answer, and then the next time they have a question, they can go, you know what, I bet you Trevor has the answer to this. And
Exactly.
eventually, it might take 6 or 7 questions, but
Yep.
eventually they're going to say, can you help me out with this? And
That's right.
that, and so we give and give and give. And I mean, we're big on reciprocity. So I might give to you, but then somebody else could call me and it can come back through that person. And it really is amazing how that, once you let yourself out, and how
That's
that
right.
stuff can pay you back. So okay, so then you're given some, like you said, maybe not the highest level, but you're getting good actionable advice,
Yeah.
not low level stuff, good stuff that I can walk away with and go, wow, like I've really got some good stuff here. Before you end the call, before you leave that meeting, if
Mhm.
you're at the coffee shop, are you asking for a follow up, or are you just leaving them with a, hey, if there's anything else I can help you out with, connect with me, or do you? I'm a soft sale guy, so what I
Yeah.
would do, and you might do something 100% different than this, but I would just say, hey, it was a great meeting. I'm going to send you an email just as a follow up, just to thank you and all that, and it'll be in a few days. And then if there's anything that you need from me, let me know. And then I would myself kind of leave, but you are the expert in this situation. So what are you doing?
That's very similar. That's very similar to what I do. I'm a
I
soft
knew
sale
we were
guy.
brothers from
Yep,
another mother, bro.
absolutely. I
So
I may say something like, is there any questions that I haven't asked you that I need to ask you? I may, if things are going great, and I feel like this may lead to something or not, I may say, I would love to have these types of conversations with someone in your network that you feel is worthy of that. I may ask that question. That's a soft close as well, I guess.
yep.
Um, and the people on my call today asked for a proposal, so I'm gonna do that for them for sure. Told them I'd have it to them in 2 days, just like you said.
Yep.
Give me a couple days to get that put together. You are going to have one shot, one kill meetings. You will, if you do these enough, you will definitely have that happen. Um,
So you're not shotgunning all over the place. You might actually have that rifle that's like, boom, I got
yeah,
that one.
yeah. This was the people that called me. It was a referral from actually Chris, the guy at the fish that's in Florida, that lives in Florida now. So they had already had some kind of a good idea of what they wanted, what they might need from me. So yeah, I'm not opposed to that for sure, to ask those questions. But again, you mentioned it might take 6 or 7 questions. Trevor, it might take 6 or 7 years. I mean, I have calls. I got a call recently on the biggest project I had last year, kind of a standalone single thing, not a monthly contract for support or coaching or whatnot. From a project, a guy I worked with 6 years ago, and he's a lawyer separating from his partner and needed all new branding, all new website, all new socials, drip campaign, the whole deal. And I got that call, and we have not exchanged money with each other in 5 or 6 years. But I was the one he trusted.
So you're really nurturing a long tail relationship, it sounds
Yeah.
like, with everyone. Now, let me ask you this: have you, um, have you made it to 100? And two, have you doubled up on a coffee? So let's say I was coffee the day number 15. Are you coming back out at coffee number 65 and saying, "Hey, I'm meeting up again with my buddy Trevor"? So how's that rolling for you?
I probably have had 1,000 meetings since I started this. Trevor, you want to talk about over caffeinated?
Yeah. Oh,
And yes, there's certainly people that I've met with more than once. And again, at that time, the whole thing was just simply I have to pay my mortgage. Like I need to generate up enough relationships and sales that I can
yep.
have a business. And at the core is helping other people, and that's that's the old Zig Ziglar thing. If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And so that was kind of the focus from the get go. But yeah, sure, I'm certainly not opposed. I wish that I kept a record of every single one, so I would know like who's number 70 or who's number whatever. I recommend anybody that starts this program to do just that. So
Yeah.
you can kind of keep track.
So then let's talk turkey.
Yeah.
You started this for yourself,
I
and
did.
then somewhere along the line, somebody said, or that light bulb moment said, "Hey,
Yeah.
why don't I show other people how to do this?" So you uh, um, uh, explain it. Like, are people joining in whenever? I
Yeah.
think you have start dates so that you're actually joining an account, so you're getting on group calls and all that. But I'll let
That's
you
right.
explain it. How does that work?
So to answer the first question, I met with a bank manager in 2018, and she said, "I want to do this." And I said, "I will coach you for free if you promise to have 100." Because other people had approached me and they would do, like you said, 10, 20 or whatever, just kind of drop off or whatnot. She promised to have 100. I said, "I'll coach you for free." It took her about a year to meet with 100 people. She created her own group, and she was managing a bank. And by the end of the year, the bank was number one in new accounts opened, number one in corporate, like the corporate loan values, and number one in individual loan values as well. The bank changed the policy in a sweeping area in the Midwest, in the Mid South, to say every bank manager had to have 50 cups documented with
Oh,
people,
okay.
business leaders in the area. They brought me in to talk to their mortgage team. It's pretty cool. Like I finally had a white paper. It wasn't just maybe Jason was good with people.
Well, and again, the interesting thing was and I think younger people or new people into the business, free wasn't free. Free was, I'm going to get a white paper out of this
Yeah,
because
that's right.
there's going to be value to this. I can have this as a case study and I
That's
can
it.
show it. And as you said, she blew the doors off of this
Blew the
thing,
doors off.
and then it became implemented. Now you have something tangible.
Yep.
So then you now have a
So
course.
I had a course, and what I had to do is kind of reverse engineer like where I came up with the 70-30 and the lead with your best. Like I had to unpack all that because she was asking these questions. So she actually helped me by making me reverse engineer my own thing. And
Yep.
then when the pandemic hit, I got a call from the Tennessee Small Business Development Center, and they had some money that they wanted to put towards small businesses. And one of the leader over there, Charles Alexander, liked this program a lot, and asked me if I would build this as an online thing that they could do through Zoom, and that they would subsidize. So I, of course, said yes and developed a 4 week program, and put probably a couple hundred people through that over
Nice.
over a couple of years,
Okay.
um, and really was able to hone that into its own thing. So, yes, I have coaching clients. Yes, I have some done for you marketing projects. Um, the thing that I get super stoked about, super excited about, is I also have 100 Cups Academy, where I'm teaching small business people, sales folks, fundraisers, pastors, people that need to develop better relationships, how to do this thing. I am on week 2 of the 4 week series of the first one that has not been subsidized, and I'm thankful to say people actually paid full price and came to the program. It was great.
So,
So,
so then,
and then I launched every.
how many people do you think over the years have gone now through the course? A few
It's
hundred?
been, yeah, it's been probably 220, 230, 240, something in that
Okay, so
range.
you are the bona fide expert when it comes to how to challenge the people in business and sales to get out there. You're using coffee as kind of your anchor
Yeah,
to get out there and force yourself to meet new people and
That's
challenge
right.
yourself to continue doing it. So for now I'm putting you on the hot seat, Jay. For the
Sure.
people who are like, you know what, he is talking my language, this is exactly what I need to do. And I'm gonna we're gonna steal some ideas from you, Jay, and because we're gonna write blogs and share it as well. But
Okay.
um, um, person listening at home, what are let's say three things that they need to do right away if they wanted to start doing this just on their own to
Mhm.
kick themselves in the butt, to start reaching out, and again, that laws of attraction month, get attracted or get connected with potential, doesn't have to be customers, but just start getting connected in your community, that community being whether it's online or in person, it's your community. What do they got to do?
I like so you want to make a list of those 10 or 20 people. And in the beginning, Trevor, we're just building meeting muscle. We're just going to try the
I like that.
70/30. We're just going to try the lead with our best. There's another technique. I pretend everyone has a sign on their forehead that says "Make me feel important." You've done a really good job of saying a bunch of nice things to
Hey,
me today.
with good stuff, keep
What's
giving
that?
it. I
Yeah,
said you're giving away the good stuff, keep giving it.
yeah. That's it's probably a John Morganism too. But that was something that like everybody that I meet with, I want them to leave in a better spot than when they got there. So again, try to edify them, lift them up, find out what makes them tick, and then listen more, and then post about it on social. Kind of the things that I found were interesting about that person. Your people that are sitting that have never really done this work before, I would say make a list of 10 or 20 people that you find influential. If you, and I don't care if you are trying to sell maybe one product or the multi-level marketing thing, and instead of just telling everybody use these tools, get to know people. um, Certainly in website sales or financial services or heck, even a lawn care business, you'd be better off trying to meet people in a corporate setting that could maybe hire you to do 10 times the size of lawns. Make the list, reach
Okay.
out, ask for their cup of coffee, and then follow the listen 70, sign and forehead, give them great information, and just rinse and repeat. I will be having these meetings until I die. This is uh, not
It's
only is it fun for me, but it's sustainable, and it's the gift that keeps on giving from a business standpoint.
it's a proven method and it works.
Proven.
And I'm going to add this to anyone listening: if you need to get yourself into a group of people because you don't have people, I can give you two easy ones. Go to a church, because
Yeah.
it'll be easy to
Yep.
meet people in the church. And Jay, you already said it. Join a multi-level marketing group. I'll tell you, multi-level marketing. When I was young and in my day, I used to eat that stuff up like Tic Tacs. And when people would be like, "Oh, we're having a big event in Hamilton's the big city around here, Nashville for you. We're
Sure.
having the person from doesn't really matter who it was, come in and talk." And I'd say it'd be like a rah meeting where they got the
Yeah.
hand clackers where you going crazy.
Yeah.
They're walking people across the stage. Everybody is going to be your best friend at those, and they're going to all want to sit down and have a coffee with you. And it's a
Right.
great way just to get used to talking to a lot of people if you're
That's right.
new in the industry. If you have no one, join a couple other ones. Join a breakfast meeting group.
Hmm.
Join the Chamber of Commerce.
Hmm.
Join a volunteer group. So there's lots of ways to get out there and try to meet people if you don't know anyone or if you're stuck on who number one is. So there's plenty of things there. Um,
Also,
and
making posting
go
on
ahead.
Facebook, to talk about that, or Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever channel you're at, saying this is the new thing that I'm doing. Maybe making a kind of a declaration. I'm going to be meeting with people in the area to learn more about them, and I've had people tag me in those types of posts to kind of get, I'm stealing this idea or I'm in this class or whatever. It's surprising how many people are actually listening that don't respond to other things. Sometimes I'll see somebody say in the wild, see somebody in the wild, and they'll say, "Hey, I saw you. You're doing this thing." I'm like, "Why didn't you comment or give me a like or so? Throw a guy a bone."
It's the silent majority. I'll
Yeah.
do videos and I'll be like, oh, like all this hard work, and we'll do funny, goofy videos. And like you said, a handful of likes. Next thing I know, I'm at one of the kids' hockey games. Hey, I saw you know, the thing. Or I'll be at church and they'll be like, hey, good video. Or I'll be, you know,
Yeah.
shopping and they'll be like, hey, you're this person. And I'm like, oh, so people do watch. And
Yeah.
before we finish off, I do want to
Sure.
touch on one thing that it's personal to me, and I think it's personal to you, Jay, and anyone else that's listening. Um, I'm not the type of person that wants to always be on social media and be showy and doing all this stuff. And when people are like, get in the picture, I'm just like, no, just stay back here. Just because I do things silently. And I know that you're there as well. Like you'd rather silently do stuff. But this is a nice, easy way to say, hey, do you mind if I get a picture with you? I'm just going to post it. How did you get over the apprehension of going, yeah, I don't want to really post, like, I don't want to post this too, going, you know what, this is a fun thing. And it's not about ego. It's just about me, what I'm doing today. What got you over that hump?
Um, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to get up in the morning and see my face all over social media. So first of all, I'm right there with you. That's not something I enjoy. What I have noticed is when I'm in the picture with somebody else, my audience, the people that are following me, tend to like those better. And also when I get to the point where I'm so wrapped up in, oh, I don't really want to post this or I don't want to be seen again, I have to remind myself that I'm not really doing this for me. I mean, obviously, long term, I have a family to raise and a
Yep.
wife that I care about and bills to pay. But ultimately, I would be helping people whether the camera was on or off. So it just, I had to change my focus on it's not all about me. And then all of a sudden, now all I care about is like helping my audience. And if I know that if I'm in the picture, more people are going to see it or it's going to help more people, then that's
Yep.
kind of my default.
You're in the
So
picture with a new coffee shop owner.
that's
People
it.
might know you, and then now you're introducing them to the coffee shop owner. So you're
Yeah.
just there as the token to show off the coffee shop owners. Essentially, is what you're saying.
That's right. Or the business coach, or the pest control owner, or
Yep.
I met with a guy that had a hot pepper business. And I was able to post about. He actually got some sales from my silly post about him. Those kind of things are really makes you feel good, but you're also helping small businesses and trying to make an impact. And there are people way smarter than me that aren't online or aren't doing anything from social. You never know. You won't hear about them. So
Yeah,
we
I
kind of
hear you.
owe it. We kind of owe it to our audience to put ourselves out there. And when we get too worried about it, we're making a little bit too much about us.
All right. Well, there you go. You heard it from the expert himself. You owe it to your audience, Jay. It has been fantastic having you on here. I learned. I thought I knew you pretty well, but I learned a bunch of things. Can you share with the audience how they can find you and if how they can start to follow you and where you're at?
Sure. If they go to coffeewithjason.com, that's my website. They'll be able to fill out a form if they want to meet me for coffee, one of these Zoom meetings, or if they're in the Nashville area in person. Love to connect with them. And there's information about upcoming courses and things like that on the website. Love to chat with them. Thanks for the opportunity to mention that.
Man, no problem. So you heard it. Coffeewithjason.com. Again, start working on your 100 cups. Cheers, Jason, for joining me and on this inaugural interview where I finally got somebody else on there. Woo! I had to kick myself in the butt. We've been building this thing for years. There's a couple of things I got to kick in the butt, but this was the one that it's like, you know what? I got to start calling people. And then I go, I know just the person to call. That is
I'm
on my
honored.
dream one. You're on my dream 100 list,
I'm
baby.
honored, man. Thank you.
And you are numero uno. You're in front of a lot of other guys that we know, so you're numero uno on that list. And I can't wait to share this out. Like I said, there's going to be lots of blogs that we're going to be sharing. We'll connect you and we'll tag you in all the stuff that we share. Thank you again, Jay, for coming out. And here's to lots of success for the 100 Cup Academy and for Jason Elkins. And it's a family business, so the business itself. So thanks, Jay. Have a great one, and we'll chat soon.